Thank you very much, Chairman, sir, for allowing me to participate in this discussion on the demand for grants for the Ministry of Ports, Ship and Waterways. I'd like to begin my discussion with a quote by the famous British economist and Nobel laureate Ronald Hedges. Once said, quote, "If you torture the data long enough, it will confess to anything," unquote. And I find more meaning after listening to the speeches from the members of the honourable members from the Treasury benches. And why I would like to highlight this quote here is, after a lot of trumpeting its own, about boasting its own welfare measures and all policies, only in the numbers on the papers, in the social media, I could see a huge difference between what is showcased by the union government in terms of data and the actual quality of life that citizens are living in the backdrop of economic exploitation and socio-political inequalities. And equality is not a chimera, my dear sir, respected sir. Sir, I would like to point out one important index. In the UN-sponsored Happiness Index 2022, out of the 149 countries, India sadly can occupy the 136th rung in the ladder. And why is it so? Because the union government is just supporting one part of the corporate sector, the big corporate wallas, totally neglecting the weaker section of the society, particularly the native tribes of our country. I'll tell you the reasons for that. With three special issues, I would like to highlight my point. Tamil Nadu has been gifted with 608 fishing villages dot the state's coastline. They harvest over 500,000 tons of marine products every year, making it the 5th largest fish-producing state of the country. But look at the plight of our Pulicat fishermen folk. It has been elaborately stated by my fellow Honourable Parliamentarian Dr. Jayakumar regarding the Kattupalli expansion of the Kattupalli port. But for the persistent resistance by the Pulicat women, also the Tamil Nadu government's resistance, it would have been implemented by this time. And who is the beneficiary? The cat is out of the bag. It is mainly directed for the advantage of the Marine Infrastructure Development and Private Limited, a subsidiary of Adani Ports. Now I can point out to this august house on which side of the scale the union government is trying to push up. The same case is can be pointed out in the development of a new port, the NIM port at the Ramandurai seashore, and I would like to request the Honourable Minister to consider the plight of the fisherman folk. See, if the NIM port is being established there, the project would displace over 50,000 fishermen families. The 6-kilometre-long breakwater structure to be constructed as part of the project would cause severe sea erosion affecting 27 villages. The second issue I would like to highlight is, sir, as a strong federalist, our Chief Minister, Thalapathy M.K. Stalin, he is no less a patriot, he is a staunch patriot, but a strong federalist. He has registered disagreement with the new draft Indian Ports Bill 2021 a year ago, since the bill diluted the powers vested with the state. And the state governments will not have any major role anymore. The Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways has framed the draft bill to modify the current management mode of minor ports, and thus our Chief Minister took up the issue with the Ministry for Ports and Shipping, strongly opposing such steps to reduce the autonomous role of states in regulation and management of minor ports. Our Honourable Minister was proudly saying that in London Museum, Indian ship is being displayed. As a proud Tamilian, we have a rich heritage history of Rajaraja Chola, King Rajaraja Chola, who had a fleeting warriors conquering the world with having the Tamil Nadu, the coast is a major shipping port,
He was called the Sapta Samudreshwar.
Exactly. Please. Thank you, Chairman, sir. And he was reigning supreme against, when Ashoka was here, he never submitted to him. Against Chandragupta Maurya, against Aurangzeb,
okay.
Rajaraja Chola was there. And as a proud Tamilian, I'm proud to quote him here. The third important issue is, say, the Sagamala project. Much has been trumpeted about that. The ministry had projected the total requirement of rupees 690 crores under the Broadhead Sagamala. However, only rupees 412.79 crores has been allocated. Even these 412.79 crores is not for the Sagamala alone. This amount also includes allocation of rupees 52.789 crores for Andaman Lakshadweep harbour works for development of minor ports. What it effectively means is that against the projected demand of rupees 619 crores, of which every Treasury bench member has been trumpeting about, the allocation made, sir, 1 minute, to the Ministry of Shipping, Ports and Waterways flagship program Sagamala is nearly 360 crores. It is just 52.17% of its projected requirement. Sir, when multimodal transportation and Gati Shakti were the buzzwords of the finance minister's budget speech, this reduction in Sagarmala reeks of hypocrisy and lack of real intent on the government's part. Our Prime Minister has tweeted about the country's economical, industrial progress with all the numbers, rosy numbers. But I would compare it with the Goebels' data. Out of the 44 Sagarmala projects under various stages of development, no funds have been released for as many as 31 projects. Sir, I would like to conclude with a quote by C.D. Burns. I quote, "There is a vast difference between giving out of benevolence and supplying a legitimate demand." There is a vast difference between giving out of benevolence and supplying a legitimate demand. I would request the Honourable Minister and the Union Government both should balance both these two aspects, benevolence as well as supplying a legitimate demand, and deliver its goods to the public, not merely as a benevolence, but as a due right of the people. Thank you.
Shri N. Redappaji, please be brief. I am again
Honourable Speaker, sir. Thank you.